I know that important part of my male audience is kind of drawn to Russian women or find them interesting, and some of you guys had already experience in dating Russian women. Some think that they would love to have this experience, and well, today I decided to talk about the dangerous things you should be aware of in Russian women. And of course, before I get straight to the points, I need to make a usual disclaimer that what I will be talking about is basically things that are my probabilistical estimations based on my personal subjective life experience, which is somewhat relevant because I am Russian. I have a huge experience in talking to Russian women, both in Russia and here as well. So it might have some value, but please don't treat my speech as some scientific investigations about the dangers of Russian women. And saying that, let's go to the first one. And the first one, I would call it deadly loyalty of Russian women to their men or to their principles. What am I talking about? And when I speak about deadly loyalty to a partner, that might even sound like awesome. You might think, wow, that's great. And one of the famous example of loyalty to a partner in Russian history is a story of Decembrists' wives who followed their exiled husbands to Siberia to live in horrible conditions, and they gave up their wealth, their status, and all out of loyalty and love, supposedly, to their husbands. Sounds kind of great, right? But this kind of super loyalty comes with putting husbands on kind of a pedestal, higher than them. A lot of Russian women still do that, and that at first might seem attractive to you. But are you really ready, fully, psychologically, intellectually, financially, be on pedestal? Because if you are looked at as a kind of god, you are expected to be able to do godly things as well. And another type of deadly loyalty to their principles. More often than not, these principles will be around the traditional values that a lot of you guys like so much, others less. For example, if a Russian woman has it very deep ingrained into her brain, in her way of thinking, that marriage equal status, equal respect, equal her women's success, then she will probably put this value so high in her priorities that it might be even higher than you. You might be overall a super great guy, kind, loving, and compatible with her by your personality, by your character, but if she is a hardcore chaser of her values, ideals, and is not very flexible on this front, and a lot of Russians are not very flexible on the fronts of their values and ideals, then you might have a problem. Then you might have a potentially serious problem, because she might not be able to understand your Western mentality, where just a paper, a stamp in the passport, showing the marriage paper or something is not considered of such a huge value. Yes, it's a manifestation of seriousness, and it implies some legal responsibilities, especially around kids, things like that. But it's not seen here in the West as inherently necessary thing. But for a lot of Russian women, it kind of is. And I know women for whom this kind of stuff, like being officially married with her partner, or I don't know, being able to change her surname to your surname, is so important that partners who are kind of not sure about this, they will be disregarded quickly and mercilessly. So, is it kind of danger? I think so. Second point, if you're thinking to date a Russian woman, please don't forget that she's trained by Russian babushkas and Russian life. Hard Russian life. So you might not even be ready for this level of resilience. And yeah, of course, I'm not talking about globally all of the Russian women that you can meet in the West. Indeed, not specifically about the type of Russian women that are coming from big money of new oligarchs or old oligarchs. Those kind of women, yeah, they might not know these hardships of Russian life and have no idea about life in general. So those are not the resilient type. Those are, I would say, spoiled brat type often. But I'm talking about the women from real deep, or not even that deep, but real Russia. That is one of the average typical Russian woman. So yeah, the emotional resilience, emotional strength is real in most of the Russian women, I would say. And why is this even a danger? Well, because sometimes she might unintentionally even make you feel as you are being too soft or even kind of inadequate with your emotions because of the way that she treats life problems and some hardships. Sometimes she even might scare you a little bit with the brutality of her judgments about whatever, about politicians, about social issues, or about people around you. She will use precisely zero sugar coating when she's talking about sensitive topics. It's quite typical. For example, well, maybe not the best example, but the one that came to my mind. When I was dating my boyfriend at that times, my first year here in Spain, he invited me before I had a few days left before going back to St. Petersburg. So he invited me to come visit his friends second time during my stay. And I told, oh, you want to meet them again? No, I'm not interested, like, sorry. That was quite assertive, but I considered it not to be offensive or anything. It just, well, I clearly stated seeing again, second time, his friends, like I was not very much interested. And, well, at that moment he swallowed it. I didn't even realize at that time that was something not fully well received. But later he confessed me that that kind of my reply, my reaction was shocking to him even a little bit, because here in Spain it's really not typical to refuse these kind of gatherings because it's very normal, especially, well, depends on the social circle, of course, but still, to drag your new girlfriend or boyfriend around your friends. If you meet with someone, you always bring your partner, things like that. And I was like, without second thought that it can be taken as offense or something, I thought, no, not interested. So, just a little example, but I think you get my point. Another thing is that in Russia we, I would say, are not very educated to talk about our feelings in family and in couples. I mean, some couples, of course, do that, perfect for them, but in general it's not the most common thing in marriages or couple relationship to openly speak about the emotional nuances one might feel, and especially, of course, not from the men's side, never. I mean, men, they don't have feelings, they only have probably 3 feelings. I want to fuck, she's crazy, and I'm bored. Like, okay, that was a bad joke. Anyway, the topic is about that often Russian women, they would have very high standards and high expectations from you wrapped in a poker face. Yeah, so basically, as a lot of them don't really know how to talk about feelings, how to talk about maybe a bit sensitive things with their partner, they will just put a poker face and expect you to read their minds and to do what they think is supposed to be done. For example, if she thinks that a guy always should gift a bouquet of flowers to her birthday, then she will expect that. And you might not even necessarily know that that's a tradition in Russia and that she's expecting this from you. Or whatever other thing that is going on in your household, and she might have an idea of what you're supposed to do this day or this week, and if you don't do this, well, I mean, she might very well give you a silent treatment or poker face treatment, and that you have to figure it out. There is type of danger, it exists. So how to overcome it? Well, basically asking your girlfriend is like, is everything okay? Like, I see you're a bit weird or something. Probably you will be lucky and she will start speaking. I don't know. Or probably it's a lost case. Because I remember there was one I think stand-upper who made a joke that was very, very on spot. He told to one of the girls in the crowd, like, "How? Are you Russian?" She was like, "No, why?" "Well, because you look beautiful and it looks like you are not having a great time." Which is kind of... a lot of Russian women might have this, give this impression, because they often wear kind of arrogant bitch poker face. I don't know why, but it's a little bit typical, especially with the people they don't know. And this poker face is also sometimes transferring into the relationship part when she is absolutely sure about the model of behavior that you should have, and for some reason you don't fit. She might be not explaining you what's wrong, but it's because her internal idea of what you should do is not coinciding with what you actually do, and you don't know how to read minds? Loser. Another point. If you are thinking to date a Russian woman and she is, let's say, not like me, that she has not revised the system of beliefs in her mind that patriarchal culture has imposed on her, if she still lives by these so-called traditional values, then, well, you might think it's a good thing. Wait, because she will test your masculinity. And she will test it if it's matching the ideal masculinity that she has in her head. And believe me, these bitches, they smell weakness as bloodhounds. So if at some point you didn't swallow your frustration and got openly emotional about something, or very sensitive, if this woman still has this kind of mindset, well, she might feel the weakness and she might start treat you as a weak person. And that is absolutely not nice. And it's unfair, I know, and it's shit, but it can happen. And that brings us to the last final point. A Russian woman either will build an empire with you, or she will bury you under it. Yes, it's that crazy. Basically, if you are ready to this most likely traditional model of relationships, well, if we are talking that you are aiming for Russian women that are still in Russia or that are just recently in the West, so we suppose they are still typical Russian women, not like me. So If you are ready to this more traditional way of relationships, if you are ready to live up to her expectations, you are super happy and comfortable with these ways, then perfect. You will be super happy, and probably it will be epic marriage or epic relationship. But if you are not, well, she might destroy you with the same passion and power that she was pouring into building a relationship with you. Why? Well, I guess because a lot of Russian women, they don't forgive weakness in men. And they are often blind to see emotional complexity in men. Just because in Russia or all other post-Soviet countries, well, men are not educated to show their emotions at all. So, naturally, a lot of women are becoming kind of insensitive to this and get lost or feel confused or weird if a guy is indeed more complex and showing it. So, yeah, it's, I guess, it's kind of a danger. So I hope I entertain you with this video, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.